everyone. My name is Ophelia, and I'm with First Things First, Arizona's Early Childhood Agency. I'm here with Dr. Eric Bucher, the Chief Executive Officer for the Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children, also known as AzAEYC. We're talking about the annual Week of the Young Child, which highlights the importance of early learning and the educators who support the positive development of young children. The week is hosted by the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and this year it falls on April 2nd through the 8th. It's filled with hands-on activities, collaborative activities that encourage movement, healthy lifestyle through art, music, food. And the celebration is also designed to focus public attention on the needs of the young children and their families, and to recognize early childhood programs and services that meet those needs. FTF and AzAEYC have partnered across Arizona to celebrate young children, their families, and early childhood educators. So Eric, tell me a little bit about AzAEYC and how the Week of the Young Child is celebrated in Arizona.
Sure, Ophelia, it's a pleasure to be with you again, and thank you to First Things First for your continued partnership to help support Arizona's young children, families, and educators. Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children is a nonprofit 501c3 membership association here in Arizona. We are one of two state affiliates of the National Association for the Education of Young Children, so we really do the work of NAEYC here in Arizona. We focus on really advancing equity for young children, families, and educators, and building a well-supported, well-compensated early care and education profession. We serve about 500 members across the state of Arizona, early childhood educators, infant toddler teachers, administrators, directors, and community champions, people who all believe deeply in the importance of early care and education, and who work every day, day in and day out, to take good care of our youngest learners and their families. So we're excited to partner with First Things First again this year on the Week of the Young Child.
So Eric, tell me how the Week of the Young Child is celebrated in Arizona.
Yeah, so the Week of the Young Child in Arizona really is not only a statewide collaboration of organizations and agencies working together to celebrate young children, but it's also a local grassroots engagement effort as well. So at the statewide level, last year, we worked collaboratively with statewide partners like First Things First, the Southern Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children, and other agencies who support children and families in our communities to seek proclamations from our elected officials, highlighting the importance of early care and education and childcare in our local communities. So last year, we were so pleased to have a proclamation from both Governor Doug Ducey's office as well as the state legislature. And in addition to that, proclamations from local mayors, city councils, tribal councils and tribal communities, and even early childhood and early care and education programs across the state. So people who were elected officials and leaders in our community signed proclamations saying that they believe that early care and education is an important part of creating vibrant communities across our state, and that we should all really look at and support and find ways to invest in our children, our families, and our educators. So at the statewide level, really centering the voices of not only our early childhood community, but our business community, our elected officials, people who are all part of our community, saying childcare is an important part of helping us all be successful and thrive. In the local grassroots level, we have early childhood programs, NAEYC accredited programs, colleges, local agencies who may be offering experiences throughout the Week of the Young Child and throughout the month of April 2022. So definitely stay connected with your local early care and education programs, your family or community programs, your community or neighborhood associations or organizations to see what types of events might be available. Everything from story readings or literature or literacy experiences to neighborhood community, like family resource center activities and art experiences for children. We've even invited elected officials to come read a story to young children in the local program and then sign a proclamation and talk with the children about what that means. And so there are lots of ways for people to get involved, not only at the state level, but at the grassroots level as well. Another way that people can stay connected on what's happening with Week of the Young Child is to follow First Things First and AzAEYC on social media, Facebook and Twitter. We'll share out lots of information about upcoming events. We'll share stories from parents and early childhood educators who do the important work of taking care of children and hear more about just why accessible childcare is so critical to helping our families survive in communities across our state. And we'll also be sharing videos, interviews, and photos of the work that happens in childcare programs day in and day out, what developmentally appropriate and meaningful practices look like, what quality, desirable early care and education environments look like, how teachers engage with children to support their learning. And so we're really excited this year to continue some of those efforts and just really elevate and celebrate young children, families, and early care and education providers.
So how does the Week of the Young Child translate into children's rights?
For here at AzAEYC, part of our commitment is really focusing and centering equity, racial, and social justice to ensure that all young children in our communities have access to quality, desirable early care and education environments across a variety of settings, including not only district and private programs, but also faith-based, family child care programs, family friend and neighbor, whatever type of early childhood environment that parents are looking for to help educate their young learners. We want to really focus equity and equitable access to those types of environments. And so over the past few years, we've really shifted our messaging through the Week of the Young Child to focus on the idea of rights, the rights of young children, the rights of families, the rights of educators. And we like to think about them as a way to imagine what could be possible if we centered equity and equitable access to childcare for children and families. So we question, like, what could be possible if we said children had the right to joy, had the right to happiness, that children had the right to quality, desirable early care and education environments? What if we said parents had the right to diverse settings across the state where they could trust and have a safe and secure place for their young child to be taken care of and to learn? And what if we imagined an early care and education field where educators were compensated a worthy wage for their complex and important work, having to support the development of young children, building those lifelong learning skills, and contributing to the early care and education profession? And so we center this idea of rights, the right to joy, the right to equity, the right to equitable access, the right to worthy wages as part of our continued commitment, helping to continue to imagine something different and better for Arizona's children and families across the state.
Perfect. And so that, what you're talking about right now kind of segues into my next question about the work that your organization is doing to reinvent that a strong and equitable early childhood field. Could you talk a little bit about that, specifically about the work? Because it seems like, how can you not agree with everything that you just said? But it's kind of like, now what are the next steps to get there?
Childcare is a public good. We know that childcare helps contribute to vibrant, thriving communities, that when families have access to quality, desirable early care and education that meets their cultural and contextual needs, that they can get to work, get to school, and contribute to the economy. And we also know that early care and education helps build children's lifelong learning skills, helping provide a space where children learn how to live and be with one another, how to think scientifically and mathematically, and how to develop the skills they need, not only to be successful as young children, but to be successful in school and beyond. And we also know that early care and education is it could be a viable career option for early childhood educators, a place where they can commit their lifelong study to professionally developing themselves as caretakers of young children, investing in and supporting children's development. And so we can see childcare as a public good. So part of our work to advance equity in the early childhood field is to continue to seek and secure significant sustained public investments in childcare as a public good. Imagine what could be possible if we invested our state taxpayer dollars in continued support for families to be able to access that quality care so that they can get to work, get to school, and contribute to their communities, so that we could really ensure that early childhood educators were paid a worthy wage, were compensated fairly for their complex and important work. And so the work we've been doing around equity is really focused on supporting our engagement with our elected officials and our legislators to help parents and teachers and early childhood educators tell their story and talk about why early childhood is so important to them and to their families. The other piece that we've been really working on, especially through the Week of the Young Child, is centering and highlighting the voices of early childhood educators. Early childhood educators dedicate years and years of their careers to studying child development, to professionally growing and participating in continuous training, to taking good care of young children and learning how to refine and adjust their craft to be able to continue to provide meaningful and deep learning environments for children. And so part of our work is elevating those stories of educators, giving a space for educators who don't often get a chance to have their stories from the classroom be told, have a space to tell those stories. Over the past few years, AzAEYC has specifically focused on elevating the voices of Black, Brown, and Indigenous educators and educators who have been minoritized, and really showcasing the critical role of cultural and linguistically responsive early care and education programs in our communities to helping children, families, and educators not only survive during the pandemic, but thrive in their communities.
Your organization is doing a lot of great work to move that forward. What do you want Arizona families to know about Week of the Young Child?
Well, we're so excited again to partner this year with First Things First, with the Southern Arizona Association for the Education of Young Children, which is our sister affiliate of NAYC here in the state, and many other local and state organizations to continue to promote the message of the importance of childcare and to celebrate young children, families, and educators across the state. And so what we'd love parents to know is just how critical they are in their child's development. Parents are their child's first teacher. And so when they are considering an early care and education program to take their child to, really recognizing just how critical their voice and their story is at supporting their child's learning in collaboration with their early care and education provider. So families should know that they're an important and integral part of the educational journey for their young child. Parents should know that their voices and their stories are also powerful. Parents know best just how critical it is to have accessible, affordable childcare so that their family can thrive, so that they can get to work, get to school, contribute to their communities. And so family stories are so powerful in helping shape the public policy and investments that we have in early care and education. So we want families to know that their voices and stories are powerful. We encourage families to pick up the phone and give a call to their elected official, their local legislators, to let them know just how important having access to their childcare program is for them, for their child, for their family. We encourage families to get involved with their early care and education program, spending time seeing what activities might be available for Week of the Young Child, and participating in any way they can to make their voices and stories heard through that collaborative process. Week of the Young Child is not only a state effort, it's also a local grassroots effort where families and parents, grandparents, and educators are coming together to say, we believe children deserve quality early care and education, and we're looking to highlight and elevate just the importance of the early care and education providers who take good care of our children day in and day out to help all of us be able to thrive in our community. And so for parents, we highly encourage them to look at some of the local grassroots activities that are happening. You might look at your local library and see if a story time will be held during the Week of the Young Child. You might take a look at your early care and education program and see if maybe an elected official could come visit and just see the importance of the program that children are being cared for in. Parents might reach out to their legislator and ask for a proclamation to elevate just the importance of early care and education in those public investments. And so it really is a grassroots, it's an engaging activity from not only grassroots experiences and activities for Week of the Young Child, but across the state, families and communities are coming together just really to celebrate young children and celebrate childcare.
I love that because it's like you said, grassroots. I mean, you could even families can start at home with just doing some activities with their child and giving them that one-on-one, those one-on-one interactions. But then you can level it up to whatever level you feel comfortable, even to like you said, talking to their legislator, because that's who folks want to hear from. They want to hear from real people who live in their area. So I think that I love all your suggestions for how folks can get involved.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another way to get involved is for families to continue to stay updated with First Things First resources as well as AzAEYC resources. AzAEYC has a parent membership level where parents can access resources and ideas around activities they could do to support their young child's learning at home, in their community, and beyond, and really continue to enhance and develop their own skills as a parent and in their own engagement with their child as their child's first and foremost and most important teacher. And so we encourage parents to check out the AzAEYC resources we have available specifically for families and parents of young children. And First Things First also offers a great variety of resources around health and well-being, dental care, parent engagement classes, and communities across the state. So staying connected with our two agencies, I think, is another way for parents to really see just the importance of their role in the community and just how critical their own knowledge and ideas are in supporting their child's development, and to have those additional resources to be able to continue to help their child develop and thrive meaningfully in their house and beyond.
Yes, yeah, and that's the goal for for all of all the folks working in early childhood in the early childhood field. So, thank you, Eric, for taking the time today to talk with us about Week of the Young Child and just the work in general that AzAEYC is doing.